What's up, everybody? This is Zach Ramirez back with some more DFS analysis. This video is going to be talking about the upcoming PGA slate that we have starting tomorrow morning, the Workday Charity Open. So, really excited to get some PGA content and videos out here for this weekend. So, yeah, like I've always said, my videos and my content are more aimed to the style of creating one, two, three, maybe max four lineups manually rather than using an optimizer and trying to build max enter 150 lineups. So that's really what my content is geared towards, and hopefully provides the most value for. So what I did here is basically just pick out all the players that I am interested in using. I don't really find any value in going over every single golfer for the slate, just because I'm not going to have exposure to everybody because I don't max enter lineup. So what I thought would be more helpful, specifically for kind of the content I'm gearing towards, is just show the players that I'm really interested in using. I'll probably have three or maybe four different lineups that I manually create for this tournament this weekend, and kind of go over who I have in majority or all of those lineups. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So starting at the very top with JT, Justin Thomas, he is coming in at 11,100. Current odds are 10 to 1 to outright win the tournament. I do have him as like a 4.5 star rating for me. I do like Justin Thomas quite a bit. He's not going to be someone I have in every one of my lineups, but I definitely have no issue starting out your build trying to fit in Justin Thomas. I know he is coming off a missed cut from the last event, but that seems to be more of an anomaly than anything. This course sets up really nice for him, and I do like Justin Thomas. Has maybe starting off as a building block with the most expensive, should be fairly safe to for sure at least make the cut, and um, top 10 finish would not surprise me at all from JT this weekend. Going to my next favorite golfer at 10,600, we do have Patrick Cantlay. Cantlay's only played one event since the return of PGA, but he looked really good in that event. Always a really popular golfer in DFS format. And his odds currently are 12 to 1 according to Vegas. So if you can't get all the way up to JT, then Patrick Cantlay is a very fine substitution. I will have some Cantlay in my lineups as well for the ones I don't fit JT in. Also coming in as a 4.5 star ranking for me, again at 12 to 1. So Cantlay, another really good option to use. Next up, we get to one of my favorite golfers for the weekend. As you can see here, I have him highlighted in a light green. That's going to be Victor Hovland at 9,500. Hovland is somebody I think I've used in almost every single tournament so far since the return of PGA, and he just keeps getting better and better. The ball striking is there. As always, the issue is his putter, but if he can just get somewhat decent with the putter this weekend, I would not be surprised to see Hovland outright win this weekend. His ball striking is just elite right now, and his all of his stats behind his current play are just really solid. But if you can just get that putter somewhat decent, like I said, you can be looking at a really high finish for this weekend. So Hovland is someone I'm gonna really build around and probably have him in majority, if not all, of my lineups as a really core player. So really like Hovland this weekend. Current odds are 22 to 1. That do have him as a 4.5 star ranking, right up there with Cantlay and JT. So underneath Hovland, someone I also have some interest in is Colin Morikawa. I've seen a lot of the comparisons between Morikawa and Hovland is that they're essentially the same type of player and that they're both elite ball strikers. It's just their putting is not good. And last time we saw Morikawa, he did not look good at all. Missed the cut for the first time in his PGA career. But I fully expect him to rebound this weekend. Didn't play last weekend, so I think he maybe got his head right and is going to come back strong this tournament. He probably will not be popular at all. I don't think. I think people still kind of feel burned from that last one, last event that he played in, and not making the cut. So Morikawa is someone who is interesting to me. Definitely prefer Hovland to Morikawa, but we'll have a little bit of Morikawa in my lineup as well. He's coming in at a 4-star ranking for me. Also coming in at a 4-star ranking is going to be Ricky Fowler at 9,000. Same odds right now as Morikawa, 28-1. But Ricky Fowler looked really, really good last weekend, and just someone I think is a really solid value for his price at 9K. I think he should probably be priced around 95 to 9,700, like with Victor Hovland and Justin Rose. But at 9K, I think you're getting a really fair deal for Ricky Fowler this weekend, and someone who I will also have some exposure to as well. You'll notice in the 9K range, a player that I don't have listed is Justin Rose. I actually ran a poll on my Twitter earlier today saying, who do you prefer, rostering Hovland or Rose? And Rose came in a little bit higher, more popular than Hovland for this weekend to roster. So I'm just not really feeling Justin Rose. I would much rather prefer Victor Hovland to Justin Rose this weekend. I know a lot of the statistics and the data say that this course sets up really, really well for Rose, but I think Hovland's just in a really solid groove right now and is finding his game. And like I said, once Hovland gets somewhat decent with that putter, he's going to be really, really, really good, really solid force for the PGA. So for me, it's Hovland over Rose, very easily for me. So next up, also at 28-1 odds, coming in at 8,800 is Patrick Reed. I do have a lot of interest in Patrick Reed as well. Basically, Reed's kind of been up and down since the return of the PGA, kind of all over the place. But the course sets up really, really well for Patrick Reed. He's always been a really, really good putter. So once he can find some of that approach game going and get his short game going again, Patrick Reed looks like a really, really, really good value at 8,800. Someone we usually are accustomed to seeing priced above 9K fairly routinely. So 8,800 just feels like a really good price to roster some Patrick Reed for this weekend. I think I've seen a lot of articles on him as well, so he may be fairly popular, but I get it, and I will have some Patrick Reed exposure this weekend as well. Next up, another really core play for me is going to be Gary Woodland at 8,300. This is just way too cheap of a price for Gary Woodland, in my opinion. Gary Woodland is another player similar to Victor Hovland. I think I've rostered almost every tournament since the return of the PGA. I know he burned me one time with the I think he missed the cut, but Gary Woodland's just way too cheap here at 8,300. Odds are 40-1 right now, and you see I do have him as a 5-star ranking. I will have Gary Woodland probably in all of my lineups I build this weekend, along with Victor Hovland. That's just one of those core plays for me. And yeah, love some Gary Woodland. I think he's way too cheap, and I think he'll probably get a top 20 finish, is what I'm expecting from Gary Woodland this weekend. So now we start dipping into the 7K range. You'll see a player I have here as a 3-star ranking is going to be Joel Dahmen. So not as high on the board for me as others, but there are some lineups I'm working with, and Joel Dahmen fits in nicely there. And so I definitely don't mind having him in there as a 7,700 play. Current odds are 80-1. Joel Dahmen's another one who can really drive the ball. I think you have a couple par fives on this course, and Joel Dahmen's game suits up nicely for that. He looked really, really good last week as well, so definitely don't mind having some Joel Dahmen exposure in there. Next up, we get to another core play of mine who's going to be a majority, if not all of my lineups, is going to be Ian Poulter. You'll see I do have him as a 5-star ranking, joining Gary Woodland as the only other 5-star ranking for me. So love Ian Poulter this weekend. Currently, he's at 100-1 odds to win outright, but last time I rostered Ian Poulter, he did really, really well for me, and I like the way his game matches up for this course. So not much more to say there. He'll be in majority, if not all of my lineups as a core play for Ian Poulter. So slipping into the low 7K range, we have Max Homa. Max Homa's sometimes can be a little bit boom or bust, but his game looks like it's trending in the right direction lately. So I do like him at 7,100. Coming in also, current odds are 100-1. You'll see I have him as a 3.75 star rating for me. Max Homa is not going to be one of those core builds for me, but If it allows me to get up to some more studs that I like, as far as maybe a Cantlay or a Thomas, and still fit in Woodland with Poulter and everybody else, definitely don't mind having Max Homa slide right in there as someone who fits in that low 7K range for me. So Max Homa, not going to be someone I get to a ton, but I will have a little bit of exposure, maybe in one or two of my lineups with some Max Homa. And so now we get into the bottom three kind of value plays for me. So you'll see I have all three highlighted in green. As a core play, this just means that I'll have at least one of these three players in probably every single one of my lineups to provide some of that value play that I need to fit everyone else that I want. So all three of these guys are coming up similarly ranked for me when it comes to their price and their projected ownership and kind of their way their game's trending right now. So starting off 6,800 Matthew Neesmith. Current odds are 150 to 1. You'll see him as a 4-star ranking for me. Um, yeah, Matthew Neesmith just looks like he's really getting it together lately, and definitely like the way his game is suiting up for the tournament this weekend. At this price, if he makes the cut and gets you a top 40, top 30 finish, that's going to provide a good enough amount of value, and Matthew Neesmith can definitely get the birdie streak rolling. So definitely don't mind some Matthew Neesmith this weekend as one of the value plays. Second value play is going to be Henrik Norlander. Henrik Norlander had a great game or a great weekend last week. Put together some really, really solid rounds, and also at 150 to 1 odds. Norlander just another guy at 6,500. I think is a little bit too cheap. I would expect Norlander to be around the 7K range. So at 6,500, I think you're getting a really good deal for Norlander, and also his game trending in the right direction as of right now. So another value guy I'll have some exposure to. And then rounding out my player pool is going to be Carlos Ortiz at 6,400. Current odds are 250 to 1, but also a 4-star ranking for me. Just $100 cheaper than Norlander. So if you just need that extra $100, you can't fit Norlander. Carlos Ortiz is going to come to play, and I don't mind having some Ortiz exposure as well. Another guy who I think two events ago, had a really, really, really good weekend and was stringing together some really impressive golf in the championship rounds and going into Sunday. So Ortiz, never a guy I really don't mind having some exposure to as well. So that's going to round out my player pool for this weekend. So, like I said, my core guys as of right now are going to be Victor Hovland, Gary Woodland, Ian Poulter, and then one of the three value plays in Neesmith, Norlander, and Ortiz. And then just playing around with these different people that I have listed here. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I have for right now. Follow me on Twitter as always. It's at OneShotDFS. I'll post some more thoughts and kind of maybe some polls. You can see where people are going when it comes to golf exposure and ownership for the weekend. But really excited to see how we can do this weekend. I cashed last weekend, and hopefully we can make another cash happen for this Workday charity event. But for sure, make sure to like and subscribe this video. This is the third day of putting out some video content, so just trying to stay really, really consistent with all the DFS content coming out and just keep growing this channel. So thanks, guys. You have a good day.